So today, on?
Yeah.
So we are making an ulnar gutter orthosis, which, as the name suggests, will be on the ulnar side of the hand. So first thing we can do is just kind of trace and make a pattern of where we want it to go. I usually like to trace the hand itself. And then I kind of just double it. And so you know it's going to fold over and cover the fingers on the dorsal side, just like that. Okay, come on up. So you just double this, basically? Mm-hmm. So basically it's pretty much just a rectangle. So if you kind of knew what you were making, you can just get a rectangular piece and make it. But it's also good just to make a pattern since everybody is a little bit different. And then before I trace it, I just like to kind of put it on the patient. And so right here. And so again, it's gonna cover these two fingers. It's also going to come down into the palm, so you just want to make sure you clear that thenar crease. And then on either side, you want to just cover about like half of the forearm. So on the back side, it should look about the same. I think I'll also make this a little bit shorter, since it doesn't need to go all the way down. We are trying to block wrist motion, but you don't want it to go too far down to where it's blocking the elbow. So I'll cut that down. So this is a pretty good piece here. I'm just gonna trace onto this rectangular piece. And I can probably just do this whole section and then cut down later on. Cut it. So we'll just kind of dry it off. And then we're ready to go onto the patient. Okay, so the MPs are going to be flexed. And both fingers will be covered. And the main thing that you want to make sure of is that the fingers are in that intrinsic plus position, so they should be, IPs should be extended. Cut it. Okay, so now that it's sufficiently hardened, we can kind of mark where we need to make any adjustments. So you can kind of bend your thumb in, and you can see how she's kind of getting into that thenar crease is a little blocked. And you can tell here too there's a lot of excess material. I always think it's better to have excess than too little, so we'll cut that down and make sure that this finger is free to move up and down. And then obviously you can always ask the patient, is there anything bothering you, anything that's poking or uncomfortable? Okay, and then we'll also round the edges. So once we've made those marks, we can take it off. And we'll grab our scissors and make those adjustments. So kind of come through here and cut around those edges. Again, that thenar crease. And again, if it gets to be too hard, you can always kind of re-dip it. But it should be still easy to work with if it's still just slightly warm. If you have better grip strength than I do. Okay, put the hand back on the table and make sure it fits. And if it does seem too tight, there is some give, so you can kind of open it up a little bit before you put it on the patient. Right. How's it feel? Good. Okay. So there are some rough edges. You can always go back with a heat gun to kind of smooth those out. And then you still want to make sure that they're moving okay. So I could probably clear that a little bit more. But for time purposes, you know, you would just kind of mark it and cut it. And we can go ahead and put some straps. So the straps that we're going to put on, we're going to put one at the forearm, here at the wrist. It's also good to put one kind of through the palm. And then some people like to put two, but you can also just put one big strap around the fingers as well. Do you like to put one or two?
I do two, just so they get that IP motion, that extension.
So put two there. Cut. So for time purposes, you can heat the adhesive with the heat gun, just so you make sure that it stays on pretty good. But we'll go ahead and put the straps on. So again, we'll put one kind of around the fingers here. We'll also put one at the forearm. And we'll also put one. We'll also put one at the wrist. You can cut. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and add our straps. So I did round this corner already. You just have to ask the patient, make sure that it's not too tight. That feels okay. One's going to go through the palm. And then one for two will go around the fingers here.